Hey guys, my name's Tanner, and today I want to show you how to set up your GoPro camera. If you watch our channel any at all, you'll see we use GoPros for tons of different shots, whether it be hunting or fishing videos. And there's a lot of different ways that you can set them up. And today, I want to show you how to do that. So stay tuned and we'll get right to it.
Kentucky Outdoor Addictions, brought to you by Wacom, Black Eagle Arrows, U-Slide Bowl Holder, Mac Custom Turkey Calls, Treason Camouflage, It's Me Time Decals.
Alright guys, let's get into it. This is a GoPro Hero 3 Plus Black Edition model. And if you're using a different GoPro, I think they're up to the Hero 6 now, it's pretty much the same, what I'm going to be talking about today. Let's go ahead and go into our menu. Go all the way over to the little arrow icon, select it. And the first thing you'll see is your resolution. And from this screen here, we can click and go into that, and we can adjust our FPS, or our resolution, or FPS, our field of view, and low light. Generally, I always like to keep all my cameras running on 1080p just to keep it, congruent across all my videoing platforms. But you'll see on this model you have several different options, all the way up to 4K to down to 720, I believe. Yeah. The difference between the 1080p Super and the 1080p just standard video, I guess, is your 1080p Super, it shoots a wider field of view, and I'll show you an example of what this is. But the Super mode is good if it's in the back of a boat and you want to get everybody in the boat. I would highly recommend that setting for that shot. But generally, I usually like to keep it on 1080p, and we'll stick with that for the rest of this video. Let's go down to FPS. Now, there's a lot of different things you can do with FPS. If you want to get slow motion shots, you want to crank your FPS up to 60. But if you're just general film looks really good at pretty much all of these. But if it's low light, say it's early in the morning, you're on the water, or you're in a tree stand, you want to shoot 24 or 30 frames per second. That way, at low light conditions, you still get a pretty good video. If it's say midday, I like to use 60 frames per second. That way, if you want to do a slow motion shot, you can, but you don't have to, and it still looks great. I'm gonna go ahead and go back out to our main menu here. Okay, if you go down to the next option, the field of view, I guess is what it's called. You get three options: wide, medium, and narrow. Wide is your traditional GoPro shot. You got a little fish, sort of looks like you're looking through a fish bowl, traditional POV camera stuff. But with these upper model blacks, and I think the silver does it as well, this model, you actually can take and narrow down your field of view and make it look more like a normal camcorder or a standard camera. Medium is pretty much in the middle of the road between these two. You still pretty much catch everything what's going on, but you sort of lose that fisheye effect. And narrow field of view is pretty much like a traditional camera, to be honest. If I'm just doing like I'm just talking to the camera, just a very specific subject, I'll use narrow. But it's good to always use your phone to guide narrow in, because it's very easy to miss a shot since it's such a narrow field of view. It has this mode called low light. I think only the black editions do this, but I could be wrong. Correct me in the comments if I am wrong. What it does is pretty much like, instead of adjusting the FPS, this camera pretty much can do it for you and increase your lighting in your shot. So if you're early morning in the tree stand or fishing, and you really want to run a high FPS, you pretty much have to use this. But I don't recommend it. I recommend just turning down your FPS during low light and just completely bypass that mode. Alright, we'll go back into our main menu settings. Okay, this is the camera setting. I'm not going to talk about this in the video. If you would like to, leave a comment. I'll make a future video going over the camera settings. Okay, we're going to go all the way up to capture settings, and we'll push the shutter button to get into that. Okay, in this mode, this allows you to flip the video upside down that it's recording. Because a lot of times, you have your GoPro mounted on a gun or a bow, not always right side up, and this is just a really easy way to flip it upside down. That's pretty much all that does. But if you forget to do it, you can always correct that on your computer later on. Okay, now we move on to the next thing I want to talk about, and that is the loop video mode. If you're fishing or hunting, and say you only have a limited card, and you don't want to film 3 hours worth of pointless video, we're just casting and nothing else really happening, you can go into this mode, and you can select how long you want it to loop for. And what it does, it will video for say 5 minutes here. This mode I have highlighted. It'll video for 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes, it starts overriding itself. So I use this mode quite a bit because we do a lot of musky fishing. If you've watched our channel, and we may fish for 3 hours and not see a fish. So a lot of times I'll set like a 20-minute video loop, and if we catch something or we have a follow or some kind of action goes on, I will come back here and reset my camera, and that way I can go to the end of this video on the card and I can find that shot very easy. And I usually run a 16 or 32 gigabyte card, so I can only videotape for a couple hours. This way I'm not having to restart and delete old video. I can just loop my video, and if I have action, stop it, restart it, and I preserve the storage on my card. So I highly recommend this mode for any fishing or even deer hunting too. It ranges from 5 minutes to 20 minutes, 60 minutes, 120 minutes, and you can do it to the max card capacity. I think right now on this card I can record for 52 minutes and 37 seconds, so it can do a full loop of that. I'm going to turn it back off, and we'll go back out to the main menu screen. Okay, I want to talk about ProTune. ProTune is something that I'm not super familiar with, but I understand enough to talk about it. Let me go ahead and turn this on. In ProTune, what it allows you to do is control all aspects of your video, whether it be the light balance, the ISO exposure, and the color saturation. And you get all these controls, but mainly what I like ProTune for is this color correction. I like to use a flat color, and then I go into my computer after I did my video and I can adjust the colors to look exactly how I want to. So this is actually a pretty handy feature. I think most of the new higher-end GoPros have this. So I highly recommend that. But again, if you don't want to use ProTune or you don't understand it, videos still look fine without it. Okay, now I want to go back into this setup screen. And some people like to use their GoPro for taking pictures, and if that's you, you can go into this mode, and when you turn it on, you can set it to come up to just picture mode, another picture mode, and a time-lapse mode at the default power-up. I usually leave mine on video, so that's primarily what I do with mine. Another cool feature that the GoPro has is the one-button mode. With this mode, when you turn it on, as soon as you turn your camera on, it starts recording. And that's great, if you say you're fishing or you're deer hunting, especially deer hunting, and you see something coming in and you want to get that second angle action shot. One button, the camera comes on, and boom, it's rolling. So that's a pretty cool mode. Okay, moving on. Okay, a lot of time in turkey season we had trouble with this because I actually did not know about this feature. And this is, you can actually turn the different LED lights on, because these will flash on the sides and when you're recording. And turkey hunting, I was afraid they could see that. So you can go into this mode and you can set, do you want all 4 of the lights to flash, or just 2, or off? We can go ahead and turn that off. Okay, next thing, if you notice in this video, this annoying beeping sound, this is where you can turn it down or turn it off. And if you're gonna, I like it for fishing, the beeping noise, because let me know if my battery dies or card fills up, I know then. But for hunting, you want to turn this off. And my last tip is, when you're done in your menus, and this saves a ton of time, instead of having to hit those stupid exit buttons, you can just hold in the shutter button for I think 3 or 4 seconds, and it takes you right back to your default screen, which mine is video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like Kentucky Outdoor Addiction on social media. Also, give us a like on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future videos.